Welcome everybody. My name is Michael and today we're going to be discussing about one of the largest scams that is the most commonplace and some people don't even think it's a scam. Let's get into it. This is so common, in fact, that many of you in the comments on my own videos have sometimes recommended these individuals. And the reason I'm so upset about this is because I see it everywhere where people are recommending them, people are going to these people, and to me, they're complete charlatans. I have a pretty strong opinion because I am disabled. I have hearing loss, I have tinnitus, and recently I've had some back issues that are still ongoing after a couple of weeks. I'm most likely going to have back issues for a very long time. And there are certain health issues where people have recommended me to go to these charlatans, to these quacks, and it wouldn't help me. I did my fair amount of research on them, and you are able to do whatever you want. We live in a free country. However, I'm afraid of recommending any options that could potentially even hurt individuals. And with this, let's get right into it. Naturopaths, chiropractors, people who are not actual physicians. You can't even say doctors anymore because there's going to be the doctor of chiropractic. I think it's a DC or whatever. There's going to be nurses that consider themselves doctors. There's even some people that now understand that doctor, the PhD, they switch their titles to physicians. So in academia, MD obviously was a medical doctor, but a PhD could be a doctor from a doctorate in any degree that you just spent enough time studying. And you have a lot of registered nurses right now, and they're doing a fantastic job as long as they are referring to themselves as a nurse, not a doctor or a physician. In certain countries, it can be a physician's nurse, whatever it is. But there is a clear, distinct difference between a dietitian and a physical therapist and a chiropractor and a naturopath and a doctor. And some people might say, oh, dentists aren't doctors. They're doctors. They're an MD. But once you start going outside of MD, anybody who refers to themselves as a doctor, I mean, technically you could be Dr. Pepper, Dr. Dre, but you are not an actual doctor. And in medical situations, there have been cases where EMTs have had awkward situations because I was reading about this. This hasn't happened once or twice. This has happened so many times that certain EMTs are just very frustrated. They're asking if there is a doctor, or someone runs up to them and says, oh, I'm a doctor. And then very quickly they find out they're not an actual doctor, they're not an actual physician. They're not licensed to be able to work on a human being. And they're running up and they're a naturopath or a chiropractor and they want to save the day, but they don't belong there. The EMT probably knows a lot more medical knowledge than they do. So let's discuss about naturopaths, homeopathy, mainly chiropractors. Those are the types of things that, I mean, there might be some physical therapists out there that masquerade as a physician or nurses or even doctors that never finished, but they have been actually arrested for fraud because they printed out fake degrees out there and whatever. If you didn't finish the 8 years or however long it takes plus residency and all that, you are not licensed to work on human beings. You should never, ever, ever try and portray you're anything different. Be proud of the fact that you're a physical therapist. Be proud of the fact that, you know, if you are a doctor of chiropractic, you can practice, you know, whatever you do with You can run your chiropractic practice. You can adjust the spine. You can say certain things. But I've been at a chiropractor before when I was younger, and I thought, oh, this is kind of like a doctor. This is the man who's going to fix my back. And I had back issues, and I still do. I have muscle issues, but my back issues are really bad now. And a lot of people were recommending go to a chiropractor. Some people were recommending go to a naturopath. What are they going to do? Some people were recommending homeopathy and naturopath and acupuncture and stuff like that for my tinnitus, for my hearing loss. And there's some people that swear by it. It is a lot of BS. And I've seen so many TikToks now. My fiance loves TikTok. We watch TikToks together sometimes. Nice bonding experience. And there's so many people on there that just believe all this stuff. They're extremely gullible. And they're like,
Yes, so there's mold problems, and there's so many things that I'm allergic to. And I went to a naturopath, and they said never go to a real doctor because they're working with the big pharma, and they don't want you to know. The real doctors, they don't want you to know. The emergency room, the hospital, they don't want you to know these industry secrets. So big pharma is actually at it yet again to harm you. And they like, listen, if you've got cancer and the doctor recommends chemo, the naturopath's going to be like, let's try something a little different. Let's try some herbs. Let's try this. Let's try some homeopathy where there's very little of an ingredient or sometimes none of that ingredient that's supposed to help you. And that ingredient, it's like basically like sugar cubes in these pills sometimes. It's a placebo effect. Meditation could probably do you much better. With naturopaths, there's tests that they do for certain people which could harm these individuals. I'm not going to go into the details because I'm not somebody who is very knowledgeable about this stuff like a MD is, but there's a lot of people that argue, oh yeah, MDs are harming people because all they give you is pills. And yes, I have been someone who has been harmed by doctors and by psychiatrists and by big pharma, I guess you could say, because I lost my hearing because of pregabalin, a pill that was prescribed to me. And within the first week or two, in addition to getting tinnitus and losing my hearing, there was a lot of things that went wrong. So I am definitely somebody who is cautious when it comes to doctors and prescriptions, but there's certain things out there that a naturopath has no idea how to fix. And the fact that they claim that, or like a chiropractor, they're able to adjust the back, but the fact that they're able to claim that they're able to fix cancer or something going on with the brain or your vision or your hearing loss or something like that, or acupuncture, a lot of people claim, oh yeah, tinnitus clears up. No, it doesn't. Tinnitus has many reasons, and some of it could be stress related and whatnot. But actual hearing loss doesn't get cured by acupuncture. That doesn't happen. It doesn't get cured by chiropractors. And I'm sure there's some chiropractors that are like, I can help you with your tinnitus. I can adjust your back for you and everything's going to be fine.
So, from a post of CWM93, the evidence is shaky at best. Many chiropractors claim to be able to treat a wide variety of ailments despite there being no reliable evidence for chiropractic treatments being efficacious for anything beyond mild to moderate lower back pain, and even for that, it doesn't always end up being conclusive. For some ailments such as back pain, neck pain, frozen shoulder, tennis elbow, and other types of joint pain, the evidence put forward by chiros is generally in poor quality studies and often relies on patients self-reporting their level of pain. It's notoriously unreliable. Many chiropractors claim to be able to treat allergies, asthma, high blood pressure, blah blah blah. Despite there being no good evidence at all, this is dangerous because patients with a serious condition need that to be addressed, and they're wasting precious time by seeing a chiro when they really should be going to the doctor and receiving medication. Secondly, because unnecessary chiropractic adjustment can result in permanent serious injury. Some people have even died as a direct result of aggressive manipulation of the spine. So, depending where you live, there may not be a regulatory body for chiropractic practices, and where there is such an organization, the requirements for accreditation aren't always that robust, nowhere near what is required for being a nurse, an MD, or physiotherapist. There are some responsible chiropractors who only do sports massage or basic physiotherapy without the certificates, but some aren't so responsible and believe in some pretty crazy things, such as innate intelligence, and deny the existence of germ theory. Much of medicine is a risk versus benefit analysis, but with chiropractic, I'd say that the benefits for anything other than a bad back are questionable. And when we go to another of his posts, the British Chiropractic Association has a history of suing critics in an attempt to silence them. The founding principles of chiropractic are highly unscientific by D.D. Palmer. And then the most shocking is the unnecessary chiropractic adjustments that have actually resulted in deceased individuals. So Laurie Mathewson was a 20-year-old Canadian waitress who visited a chiropractor 21 times between 1997 and 1998 for lower back pain. And when one of her last visits, she actually started foaming at the mouth After the chiropractor manipulated her neck, she began to cry, her eyes started to roll. She went to the hospital and slipped into a coma and died 3 days later. So 700 other similar cases have actually existed. That's a pretty serious number right there for someone who probably, adjusted her spine too aggressively. So that's with chiros. When we look at naturopaths, even retired naturopaths sometimes say basically like practicing witchcraft. The thing is, with some naturopaths, they're actually able to prescribe. For example, the state of California, you're actually able to prescribe. Now, you will have to have a presiding MD, but in the state of Oregon, since that is a state with a history where they understand that a lot of the population is skeptical of MDs and doctors and prescriptions, they're actually able to prescribe the same amount and the same medicines that MDs only are able to. And in certain cases, it could be, Schedule 1, Schedule 2 substances. So this is going on in various states, and this is an article that was written by an ex-naturopath. So she said she discovered her supervisor had been importing a non-FDA approved drug called Ukraine from Austria to treat cancer patients. She quit because of that. So her supervisor, Michael Usick, to the state board she reported him. She was absolutely upset by his decision to treat cancer patients with an unapproved, potentially risky drug. He said he knew it was walking the ethical and legal line, but that most naturopaths do this. So this is what actually delays a lot of cancer treatments. This is what delays diabetes. This is what delays a lot of serious conditions where, in some cases, these people die because they go to naturopaths or they're prescribed something that doesn't help them or can actually injure them. So this is a pretty crazy article, and she was talking about her own experiences where she had a patient that was struggling with infertility. The patient was actually referred by a doctor. She pretty much tried everything, and after a couple months, the patient realized that this kind of wasn't really. She started playing fertility doctor. She wasn't listening to what I wanted or what I needed. I felt like she was out of her depth. This is the patient. I trusted the naturopaths more than the scientists, said the actual ex-naturopath. So I'll link this article below. It's a pretty good read, and also the Reddit thread. But ultimately, we could continue talking about this for probably the next hour, but I think you get the point. So that's my opinion. There's a lot of data out there on why this stuff can be very harmful. Maybe you might disagree. Maybe you might have a different experience, but I'd rather go to a doctor than a chiro, or I'd rather go to what I have been doing, to a physical therapist who can adjust my back just like a chiro can, but actually has a little bit more training and can actually fix the problem by assigning stretches and pointing out the root cause of the problem, not just by adjusting the back. And it's kind of like just going on a massage for back pain. Sure, it's nice, but you'll go right back to the back pain without addressing the cause. So naturopaths, I wouldn't go to them. A lot of those mold tests, a lot of the allergy tests, those are blown out of proportion. A lot of people think black mold is everywhere and it's destroying. And sure, in certain cases, it really can destroy lives, but that is also another topic for another video where a lot of it is just at that point BS. So you have to do your own research, and yeah, just let me know what you guys think. So thanks so much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Peace out.